So since these are our tiny takes, these are going to be shorter sessions. If you've attended any of our professional learning series that happen on Tuesdays, those are typically an hour long. These tiny take series are new. They're going to be 30 minutes for just kind of a bite-sized condensed focus on one particular topic. All right, good morning. Yeah, people coming in from all over. Looks good. So for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and just start kicking us off here. Today's topic is expanding your knowledge of ADVi, Texas Virtual College Advisor. Our overview, we're just going to start out with some brief introductions. We're going to go through what ADVi is, a complete overview of that, look into the process to be able to utilize ADVi, what sets ADVi apart from other similar services, and then we'll have a very special interview with an ADVi advisor who's here today, and then followed by some additional resources and a Q&A. So once again, good morning. My name is Josh Garcia. I'm the implementation coordinator here on our team for professional learning and engagement. But I'm not alone in our efforts here. There's 5 of us that you can see, some here, some working behind the scenes, making this event happen, making all of our professional learning series happen throughout the year, and working hard to bring you additional resources throughout the entire school year. And for our guest today, we have 2 people from the ADVi team, Nathan Swash, who is an ADVi operations coordinator, and Evan Taylor-Dare, who is an ADVi advisor. And before I hand it over to Nathan, I just want to remind everybody that if you do have any questions, please put those into the Q&A. It's going to be a lot harder for us to see those and answer them if they're just in the chat, but definitely feel free to talk to each other and kind of chime in with comments and things like that in the chat as we go along. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to Nathan.
All right, thank you, Josh, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join today's Tiny Take on ADVi. As Josh mentioned, my name is Nathan Schwouch, and I work with the ADVi chatbot as the operations coordinator. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about who ADVi is, what we do, how we support your students, and how you can support the work we do. So first, let's take a quick look at what exactly ADVi is. So ADVi is an AI-enhanced college advising chatbot that reaches students with critical college access information. As we all know, students are on their phones a lot. We also know that the college application and enrollment process can be really complicated, complex, and frankly, frustrating for students who may not know what steps they need to take or what to do in the process. So what ADVi does is we help break down that information barrier that a lot of students face by reaching them with this critical college access information directly where they are, which is on their phones. And one of the advantages of ADVi is that we can give students quick answers on demand through our AI capabilities, which I'll talk through here in just a minute. But what really sets ADVi apart, besides our proactive messaging and our reactive on-demand support, is our team of trained human advisors who we have waiting in the wings to provide that personalized support. So when a student has a nuanced question that they can't answer, our team of advisors can step in to provide those students with the support that they need. So through this 3-pronged approach of proactive text messages, on-demand answers, and a state-based team of human advisors waiting in the wings, ADVi ultimately not only simplifies the college-going process, but also supports advising capacity across the state. And that's one thing I really want to emphasize here is that ADVi is intended to supplement rather than supplant those on the ground. We're not here to replace counselors or college advisors, but rather we want to make sure that we're supporting the work that you all do with your students. So now that you have an idea of what ADVi is, I'd like to share a quick summary of how exactly ADVi works. So ADVi operates in 3 main ways. First, ADVi sends proactive text campaigns to students on a weekly basis. You may hear us refer to these occasionally as smart nudges, and these proactive messages cover anything from reminders about upcoming deadlines, tips and tricks for completing key steps, or even motivational nudges to help keep students on track. And this is one component that really helps set us apart from some of those more reactive AI-based services, whether it's ChatGPT, My AI, or Google's AI service, because students know to ask those questions to ChatGPT or Google AI or My AI, but in a lot of cases they may not know what they don't know. They don't know what the next steps are. So these proactive nudges help share that information with students. And our research shows that 98% of the messages that we send to these students are actually read by the students within 3 minutes of receiving them. So by sending them these proactive nudges with this key application and enrollment information, we're actually helping break down that information barrier in mass in real time. And second, as I mentioned in the previous slide, we do provide AI enhanced on-demand two-way communication to students. So with this functionality, we can give students 24/7 support for any college questions that they may have in what we like to refer to as those in-between moments. So if a student has a question about application requirements, how to send their transcript, or how to start their FAFSA, they can text our bot at any time and get an immediate answer. So whether it's on the way home from football practice at 1:30 in the morning or even on Thanksgiving, our bot's got your students covered. And last, but certainly not least, we like to use surveys regularly as a feedback loop to drive personalization, ultimately show students that ADVi is listening. So whether it's for improving user experience, gauging students' experience with the bot, or even collecting self-reported information on where students are in the process, we leverage these surveys to show students that we are listening and that we're meeting them where they are. And so when I talk about these different journeys for students, here's an example of what that may look like for students. We recognize that there's no one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach to college advising. And our goal ultimately is to send the right information to the right students at the right time. So in this example that we have here on the screen, students may receive different messages based on where they are in the application status, which is very important to us because a student with an application in progress, as you see on the left-hand side of the screen, needs different information, needs different nudges, needs different tips from a student who has an application status that is complete. So this is really important because it shows that we're listening, that we're relatable, and it ultimately helps us build trust with the students that we are a trusted support resource that can provide personalized support to those students. All right, so that was a little bit about how ADVi works. So now I'd like to kind of pull back the curtain and talk a little bit about what happens behind the scenes to help make ADVi tick. While ADVi is a chatbot, we don't let the bot do all the work. There is a human element that's involved in ADVi's work that helps make ADVi the well-oiled machine that it is. So as I mentioned throughout the presentation, we do have an AI-powered chatbot that's available to provide 24/7 on-demand support. But behind that, we have a team of subject matter experts, including myself and our team of trained human advisors who work very diligently to review the bot's messages and student conversations to measure accuracy, content needs, and ultimately identify areas where we can improve the student experience or provide more accurate information. We also are carefully reviewing trends and regularly attending professional development sessions to make sure that we're up to date with what's going on in the college access and application field. And while it's great for our bot to support students, we also recognize, of course, that the bot, it's not omniscient. It doesn't know everything. I'm sure plenty of y'all have used chatbots before and run into an issue where you ask a question and the bot can't answer it, or it tells you, I don't know. And that can be really, really frustrating. But our secret sauce with ADVi is that we actually have a team of 6 trained human advisors who work behind the scenes and step in whenever students have nuanced questions that the bot can't answer. And I'll save a little bit about this until we have our special interview later. But as you can see, with our team of trained human advisors and the subject matter experts working behind the scenes, ADVi is more than just a bot. Now, sure, plenty of y'all are thinking, this sounds like a really great resource. How can my students sign up? Well, signing up is as easy as 1, 2, 3. All students have to do is first just go to Apply Texas and create an account or log into an account if they already have one. Then once they've either created an account or logged into their account, they'll need to complete the application screener. If they've logged in a while ago and haven't logged in recently, it is better if they can take some time to retake the screener just to make sure that all the information they input there is up to date and fresh. And then once they've completed that application screener, they'll receive a pop-up on their dashboard, which I have a screenshot on the next slide of. So here's what that pop-up will look like on the student's dashboard. All they have to do then is just enter their phone number and check the box to opt into text messaging support from ADVi. Of course, we do recommend that students double check their phone number so that they do receive a message at the correct phone number. So once they input this information, they'll receive a message from ADVi within 1 to 2 weeks. Now, in addition to all the great resources that we provide to students, whether that's on-demand support, proactive text campaign and reminders, or even access to our team of trained human advisors, we're also really excited to promote this tool that is our exclusive scholarship matching service that we call the Scholarship Bot. So I used to work in a high school as a college advisor. I'm sure many of y'all can relate, but one of the most common questions I got from students is, how do I find scholarships to apply for? And previously, when I was an advisor, we'd have to send students to these different resources where they would just scroll through a big list of scholarships, read the requirements, only to realize, oh, well, I spend a couple minutes reading through that and I don't even qualify for this scholarship. So the way this bot works is it actually helps take the guesswork out of the scholarship search process. All students have to do is text #scholarshipbot, and once they've texted this command, ADVi will send them a link to a scholarship questionnaire. It's not too long, not too difficult of a questionnaire to complete. Students just fill out key information like their grade point average, any clubs or organizations they've been involved in high school, what their interests are, what major they're interested in pursuing. And based on that information, ADVi then pulls from a database from the National Scholarship Provider Association and gives a list of scholarships to those students based on the criteria that they entered in the questionnaire. So again, much like a lot of what we've talked about with helping break down that information barrier in the process, ADVi also can help break down that information barrier and make that scholarship search process a lot easier for students to navigate. Now, for those of you who are interested in seeing the ADVi experience for yourself, you can actually sign up for ADVi Text as well. So all you have to do is just follow this link here on the screen. I believe we'll also be sending this link out after this presentation as well. You'll just answer a few questions and then you'll be receiving the same messages that our students do. Please note that this link is only for educators, so we do ask respectfully that you do not share this link with students or parents. And if you do want to sign up, again, friendly reminder, just do it through this link rather than through Apply Texas. So that is ADVi in a nutshell. And I know this has been a lot of me talking, so I'd like to shift gears a little bit. One thing that I did mention throughout this presentation is that we do rely on human support to help break down the information barrier that students face. And I'm thrilled today to actually be joined by one of our very own human helpers who's going to tell us about himself and life as an ADVi advisor. So I'll bring in Evan Taylor Adair here. Evan, thank you for joining me today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So first of all, Evan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what a typical day looks like in the life of an ADVi advisor?
Hi, Nathan. Thanks for having me. Good morning. So first of all, I just want to introduce myself and my own background. I've worked with students in College Access for 7 years. First, I worked in a high school and a college and career center for 2 years, working with juniors and seniors, financial aid, applications, you name it. Then I spent 2 years working virtually or in a hybrid setting with freshmen and sophomores on college and career planning. And then finally, I've been working with ADVi for almost 3 years, serving high school seniors and adult learners. My personal background, as you know, I'm an ADVi advisor right now. I live in Austin, Texas. I live with my lovely wife, Erin, and my orange tabby, Jonas. I like board games, video games, and recently I've gotten into indoor bouldering. So those are my main hobbies. So what's a day in my life like? Our first priority with ADVi is always looking out for student questions. When student questions come in, we're immediately researching, we're getting background information for that student. Sometimes we even have to make calls to college campuses if we can't find the information on their website. And then whenever we're not answering questions, we're working to make ADVi better. We're working to make the bot scripts better. We're reviewing our resources that we have for students. So yeah, that's what it's like for us. One thing that's really unique about the team, though, is that we come from a wide variety of backgrounds and college access, K through 12, college admissions and enrollment offices, you name it. So I think that's what makes the ADVi team really special.
Thank you, Evan. What are some of the most common questions that you receive from students?
I mean, you can probably guess the big ones are, did I get into college? How do I even apply? Can you help me with financial aid? Can you help me find scholarships? That's a huge one, of course. I think one interesting thing about ADVi that you may not guess is that we have students who are applying to a wide variety of colleges. Our top 5, in fact, whenever we survey students, is Texas Southern, Lone Star, Dallas College, Texas State, and Houston Community Colleges. These are our 5 most popular schools, but that's not the limit. We have students who are applying to colleges all across Texas, and they have a wide variety of questions.
All right. From your perspective, what makes ADVi stand out from other college advising resources or chatbots?
I think that ADVi is in a very interesting space. I liked the comparison that you made, Nathan, to other chatbots, because right now there are a ton of chatbots. ADVi is really special because it's not just unfiltered knowledge from the internet. It's actually like pre-written and sourced from humans who know their stuff. I think ADVi is really special because it's there for students when they need it. Like I just know our students are often up late at night feeling anxious about their future, or maybe suddenly remembering a task that they forgot on the bus home, or in the morning before band practice. That's when I got a lot of my stuff done. What's special about ADVi is that it's there for them in those moments, so it can answer their questions. And then in the case that it doesn't, or it doesn't know the answer, there's humans ready to research and get the students the answers they need. I think the human touch is what makes it really unique. In our messages, we're always trying to get that student to their next steps, and most importantly, to the person who can help them most. The warm handoff is super important for us, be that to the financial aid office at their college, or their high school counselor, or an admissions counselor. It's really important to us that students are motivated to take that next step. And that brings me to a really important point, which is that ADVi is not there to replace in-person counseling services or any other type of services that students are receiving. It's there to complement, to supplement. So it's that additional tool that often can get the student moving and get them to that office that they need to be in.
Right. And last but certainly not least, what is the most rewarding part of virtual advising?
It is really, really rewarding working with students and working with students through ADVi. ADVi is a little different. I don't get the privilege that many of you do to see the same students in my class learn and grow and finally graduate and see that gradual progress. I think the most rewarding part about ADVi is probably at the end of the year when those messages flow in from the surveys, or when students are just thinking about the past year. And when they send those messages, and we do see them from time to time, and a student says, thanks, ADVi, I probably wouldn't have gotten enrolled if you didn't send me those texts, or you really encouraged me to take that next step from my financial aid or my application. When I do recognize those messages or see students maybe that I've helped before, that's what's like really, really special. And I think probably everybody can relate to that.
That's great. I love to hear that, and thank you again for taking the time to join us and give us a little peek into life as an advisor for the ADVi team.
Thanks, Nathan.
All right. Well, that just about does it here for my presentation on ADVi. In summary, here are 3 tiny takeaways that we hope you take with you as a result of this presentation. First, as we mentioned, ADVi does provide on-demand support for what we refer to as those in-between moments, like Evan was mentioning, whether it's during band practice or after school, after practice, or even on the weekend. ADVi can provide on-demand support for students. Second, ADVi uses proactive messaging to share key application and enrollment tips and reminders to help keep students on track. And last, but certainly not least, our team of trained human advisors work behind the scenes to support students and connect them with additional resources. All right. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. And Josh, I'll pass it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nathan. And thank you, Evan, as well, for that great information, letting us know everything about ADVi. I do want to talk about some of the resources that could be useful and kind of related to our topic today. The first thing that I want to talk about is, of course, our recent relaunch of the Texas On-Course Academy. So this just happened a few weeks ago. If you are familiar with the Academy, these are all brand new, refreshed modules, full of great content, learning activities, resources, templates. These are all modules that are kind of based upon what is the latest things that are happening here in Texas. As you know, so much has changed over the last few years. So whether you are at the middle school level, high school level, or working in the post-secondary arena, these are all modules that have been reviewed by educators. And if you're wanting to learn more about this, we're going to have a special session on it during November 18th at 10 a.m. So you can sign up for that. But in the meantime, if you'd like to go and log in or create a free account, you can go and check out these modules, look at what's available. There's very specific topics on a wide range of things, from college advising, career prep, financial aid, just tons of great stuff there. So I'm very excited about this new version of the Academy. And following this up, I think I saw somebody ask about this in the chat. We are going to be sending a follow-up email with links to all of these things that we talked about today, including this Get to Know ADVi one-pager that can be extremely helpful as you may be talking about ADVi with other people at your school, including other counselors, staff, faculty. This kind of just breaks it all down into a very simple to understand way in case they have questions or students are asking them questions as well. And then this one pager is going to include some links to FAQs and the help desk too. We're also going to include that link that Nathan mentioned, ADVi for Educators. Can't recommend signing up for this enough. It's amazing if your students sign up for it, but as we all know, it's a super busy time of year. FAFSA is about to be starting out. People are applying all over the place. It's also good for us to have some reminders coming in as educators, so you can see exactly what messages your students are receiving, and just kind of have that top of mind as you're going through the week. And I know staying busy, putting out fires, all that good stuff. A few more things that I'll mention here. We have the My Texas Future Recognition Program, which, if you haven't heard about this, My Texas Future is our kind of one-stop shop for exploration, for exploring options for college, looking at how your coursework relates to long-term career plans. And so we have this opportunity that you can sign up for the My Texas Future Recognition Program. Again, whether you are at a middle school, a high school, if you work at multiple schools, you can sign up for that this year. We're going to include a link. And what's going to be so special about this is that once you submit the form, we are going to mail you some very special swag items related to My Texas Future. And if we go to the next slide, talk a little bit more about this process. So you're going to get all kinds of promotional items that you can use, whether it's there in your space where you do your advising one-on-one, if you are doing group advising, if you have certain college and career related events, parent nights, again, anything where you might be wanting to promote the use of My Texas Future. It's so super helpful, and it's a great way for you just to kind of get students thinking about this and keeping track of their progress over the years as they head towards graduation. And then another special part of this is that you're going to be recognized by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board as a My Texas Future campus. So that's kind of a special thing for you and your school, and we'll be sure to include the link on this as well. We have our next Tiny Tech session coming up on October 2nd. So that's going to be just like today, where it's going to be 30 minutes. It's going to be packed in just one topic, but the latest and greatest information on our updates from the 89th Texas Legislative Session, specifically updates that are going to be affecting Texas students. So this is something that you can sign up for now. And if you go to the Texas OnCourse website, you can see this full schedule that we have screenshotted here, where in addition to our Tuesday sessions that are an hour long, the Tiny Takes will continue to happen on Thursdays. Always bringing you different expert guests such as Nathan and Evan to just let you know what's going to be happening and what your next steps can be to best support your students. We will be sending all of the things that I mentioned here today, as well as all of the links that Nathan mentioned in a follow-up email if you attended. We're also going to be having a recording of this that will be uploaded, access to the slides. But if you're like, Josh, I can't wait a day or two, I need the resources now, you can scan this QR code and get access to our resource doc. And again, those things are going to be there. You can use them throughout the year, and then all of our contact information will be on that resource doc as well. If you would like to follow up with any kind of questions or suggestions, any kind of feedback you have. But a great place that you could also leave that is on our next slide. We have our survey for joining us. This will just take you 60 seconds, maybe less. If you would be so kind as to fill that out. We really do read all of our feedback and take that into account as we're planning our sessions, as we're creating future content. It really means a lot for y'all to be here today. And we have a couple minutes left. If anybody has any additional questions, we'll stick around for the next couple of minutes, but thank you for joining us.
This has been awesome. Thank you guys so much. This has been such a fun session to hear from an ADVi advisor. We do have one question that just got put into the chat, and I also saw some others being answered here and there in the Q&A. Robina asked, do you recommend ADVi only for 12th grade students or 11th as well?
Yes, at this time, ADVi is only available to high school seniors and some adult learners with some college no credential. ADVi is not available to juniors or any lower grade levels at this time.
Perfect. Thank you, Nathan. I think we covered all the other questions. Maybe there was one more. Excellent. Yeah, I think we covered all the rest of the questions in the chat. I don't see any others open in the Q&A. Let's see, just making sure. All right. Well, if there are no further questions, thank you everyone, all of our panelists that were here today and all of our guests. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here. It's always a fun session to see everybody. And if you do have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us and we will make sure to answer those. But we hope that everyone on the call has a wonderful rest of the day and great week. Thanks so much.